REMARKETER, empowering realtors.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining me today. So, I thought it would be great if we can talk about an important aspect of business management, which would be the management of your financials in your business today. It's the beginning of February, and we're still fresh in the year. And this would be another one of those good practices that you can start off at the beginning of the year. So I'll show you the features and functions that Remarketer provides you, the ease of use that you have for this feature, and I'll give you some tips and tricks. Um, Now that we're at the beginning of February, it's a great time for you to start adding in your January income and expenses. And you can do this every month going forward. So this year, if you hadn't done so already in the previous years, you're going to be able to have a much better look and a much better view on your business financials. And this is going to play an important role in you being able to manage your business financially as well as plan your business in terms of marketing budgets, plan to hit expenses, income that you will be receiving this year, as well as you being able to have a much better understanding of your ROI per transaction. And have a much better understanding of your ability to set targets for your business going forward. So it's a very simple uh, feature and module of Remarketer, but it's an important one for you to know about and hopefully start using if you haven't already done so. All right. So let's go ahead and check things out together. All right. That you would want to know about is pretty much under the accounting tab right here on the left. So this is basically a tab that will need to do this. Okay, great. So this is basically the module of Remarketer that provides a ledger of your income and expenses. And it's a very simple tool to use, but down the road, it will give you a much better visibility on your business. So what we have here is um, not a tax calculation system or a full-fledged accounting system. It's a ledger. So it's basically the income and expenses list that you can handle. It is going to be able to generate income statements for you, which I will share with you at the end of the session today. But it's a great tool for you to keep track, and then it'll make things a lot easier for you when you want to do your taxes quarterly or annually. It's just a simple export and generation of the income statement, and you can easily import the content into any accounting software or just simply hand them over to your accountant. And things will be done in a matter of minutes rather than all the hassle of days that you'd have to spend in gathering information and be able to provide to your accountant and be able to do your taxes. So this is going to save you a lot of time and give you a lot of visibility on your business. So let's get to it and see how it works. So it's pretty simple. You have several columns here. The first column is the date column, so that's the date that the transaction has happened on. Then you have the amount. The amounts that are mentioned in red are expenses. The ones that are mentioned in green um, are income. Then you have the description. So basically, that's describing what that expense or income has been. Then you have the categories. So you have several different categories that you can select and assign each one of the income and expenses to. So the first thing that sets this ledger apart from regular um, accounting softwares is that the categories here are uh, predefined for real estate business. So these are usually the categories of income and expenses that you're dealing with as a real estate professional, and you don't have to really configure a an accounting software to cater to your business. It's already configured for you. So the categories are pretty familiar. So things like staging, for instance, are already there. Things like commissions are already there. Transaction fees are already there. So these are the kind of things, referral fees, for example. So these are the kind of income and expense categories that you usually deal with, that, and they're already available in the platform, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, the other thing that sets this system apart from any other accounting system is that you can not only add the income and expense with the description, but you can also allocate and assign an income and expense to a client or a property. So basically, if you're spending $120, for instance, here on Facebook marketing, you know on which property you have invested and on for which client you have invested that expense. So I've spent that much money for marketing a property for sale, for example. So it doesn't stop there. I can take it further and also record the fact that it was spent on this property, which is owned by this client of mine. So I would then be able to also see how much money I'm making and spending working with a specific client. So client-based ROI, and also how much I'm spending and earning for every specific deal, every specific property that I'm listing. So property specific ROI as well. So these are the extra two layers of information that Remarketer can provide you, and it's a great advantage for you to be able to see um, the extent of your business, as well as the details in a proper ROI perspective per client as well as per property. So these are the other two things that you have available here. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Every time an income or expense is takes place in your business, all you need to do is to add the record to this business accounting ledger right here. So this is how it works. You click on Add Record, and you're going to add the income or expense in here. Now, before doing this, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of things here. So let's go to the listing manager. All right. I see here that we've got several sold properties and one property that's for sale. Okay. So let's imagine that this property, 185 Steeles Avenue East, is for sale, and we would like to, I've just listed this property, and I'd like to start recording the expenses that are incurred for this property. So I know exactly how things are going to shape up going forward. So it's the beginning of the cycle. I've just listed a property and I just want to record information. So that's 185 Steeles Avenue. I'm just going to copy this MLS number because we're going to be using it later on. So I'm going to go back to accounting. So day one, I've just listed it. Let's imagine that I've just spent some money for the photography and creation of virtual tours for this property. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to add the record. So as soon as the expense happens, it's much easier to do it right away. Otherwise, You can sit down once every month or once every week and just add in your weeks or months income and expenses into the system. That's all that's required. All right, so let's say I've spent $400 on photography. All right, so after that, you can select the category. So the category that uh, fits here is we already have a photography category. So you and for the description, you don't have to mention photography the same thing. So we already have the category there. So for example, it makes better sense if you want to record the name of the company. So um, photo shoot Inc., let's say. So let's say I've paid $400 to Photo Shoot Inc. That's for photography of a property. Now, the next thing that I do, okay, first thing is also the date. So let's record the actual date. So let's say I have spent that money on the 20th of um, January. I should select that so it matches uh, my statement. And then later on, it's much easier for me or my accountant to verify the transaction. So what I would do next is I would also record the client name as well as the related property. So let's say I'm going to select uh, this property right here, this client. So that's myself. Let's say that's the client owning that property, and I can also search for the property with the MLS number and select the property. So that's the property that I've spent this money on. Okay, so I'm going to add this record to my ledger. So there it is. It's added to my ledger. So it was on the 20th uh, of January, and it was for this client on this specific property. There was another transaction here for the same client on a different property right here. So that could be a case right there as well. But that's just another record here. All right. Now, I added this and I can go ahead and add further records as well. So let's say 3 days after, I spent $750 on the virtual tour and video uh, tours. So this is paid to um, virtual tours company, and this is going to be uh, so we've got gift, referral, equipment, staging, photography. So I can either categorize it under photography and tours, or I can just categorize it under marketing, for example. So the same client and the same uh, property. All right. I can go ahead and save this one as well. So now I have another um, investment made, and I've added that to the ledger as well. So this list goes on and on and on. So let's say I have another one. I've spent um, $56 on refreshments for um, the open house. So that would be another marketing expense. I'm just going to say open house refreshments, same client, same property. So whenever an expense happens, you go ahead and add the transaction to your ledger. So now we have the ledger so far. So these costs could there could be other costs as well. You can add your online marketing campaigns that you're running specifically for this property, your other open houses. If you're printing a flyer, so let's say I printed a flyer as well. So um, and let's say I spend $480 on just listed flyer. That's another marketing expense. Again, I'm going to select my user, my client, as well as the property. So these are the expenses that I'm making as we go along. There could be staging expenses, there could be all sorts of expenses that happen throughout the life cycle of this listing. So I have added all of these. Now I want to show you something. Let's go back to the listing manager, and we have the property right here. I can go ahead and edit the property, and here you have an accounting tab. You see, this is showing me all the expenses from my ledger that are associated with this property, right? So I have already spent $1,686 on this property. So that's the marketing expenses as well as the photography. So all of that expenses are now calculated and shown to me right here with zero earnings so far, right? So I haven't sold it yet, but I've already spent $1,686 on this specific property. On the other hand, if I go back to the contact manager, and I don't know which one it was. Hopefully, it's this one. Under the contact, I also have another accounting ledger, so that's a different one. But you can see that the expenses are categorized here. Let me see if it's uh, another one of these. Okay, there it is. So 1,686 are added right here. So these are the expenses that I have incurred so far. So for that client, there could be multiple deals. So I might be spending this much on the sale of their property, but I could do future deals with them as well and other business with them as well. So let's imagine while we're doing this and while we're staging and preparing their property for sale, we are also going out with them to view other properties so that they can buy a different property as well. So that's another transaction going on with this client right here. So what we would do, let's say we're going out. Let's go to accounting. Let's say that we've gone out and we've gone to several showings with that specific client of mine. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to add another record. So let's say we went out with them over this weekend. So it was on the 31st. And I have calculated the amount of money that I have spent on gas going around the city showing properties. So let's say we drive about 50 kilometers, and let's say if I do 15, let's say like $20 per 100. So let's say I've done like $18 of gas. So that's how much I calculate. There are a lot of apps out there that you could use that would calculate the amount of money that you spend on gas based on the kilometers that you drive every day. And as a realtor, this is one of the expenses that really adds up if you track it. So this is going on showings, and the category is gas. So that's how much money I spent on gas on that day going on showings with this client, right? So I can select the client, but there's no property yet here. So this one does not apply to the property because it's for a purchase of a property. So we're going out to showings. It's not on a specific property. Those other expenses were for a specific property. So I was associating them with a client as well as a property. But this one is an expense that only associates with the client and not a specific property. So I can save that as well. So I have spent this much money on gas as well. So if I go back to the contact manager and I look at the contact, I believe it was this one. There it is. So now I have a combination of all the expenses that I'm doing for all the different transactions that I'm performing with this client right here. So I've already spent $1,704 working with this client. So you can have a proper view on the ROI. Then once you have an earning, once you sell a property, you would have a special amount of earnings made by working with this clients. When you purchase a property for that client, you get another set of commissions, which is another set of earnings. So all of those will then reflect here. And you would know at the end of the day, working with this client has made you how much money, and you have spent how much money working with them as well. So you have a clear idea of what the ROI is going to look like. All right. So let's test out. Um, let's go back to accounting here. All right, so now let's fast forward and imagine that we have purchased the property for this client. So what I will do is that once that's finalized, and I know that there's going to be a closing date, let's say in 2 months, that's when my deal is going to come through, right? So at that time, what I'll do is that I'm going to set the date for the closing date. So let's say it's going to be in April 22nd. That's the closing date in the contract, right? So that's when my income is going to um, uh, happen. So not before that. So depending on what the process would look like in your brokerage, you would know the date that your income is going to appear. So let's say, for instance, we bought a property for $1 million, and the commission is, let's say, $20,000. All right. So the rule of thumb is for your incomes and your expenses basically to put in the gross amount. So the full amount, and then deduct all the expenses instead of going for the net, because you have to also reflect your expenses. You can't just go for the net income. So let's say you make $20,000 gross. That's the commission. And then you're going to deduct all the expenses, the brokerage fees, the listing fees, any other fees that would be applied to that transaction, the transaction fees, anything, desk fees, whatever you have in your agreement with your brokerage, anything that applies would be deducted from this amount. So we add in the gross amount. So that's commission for purchase of 123 um, uh, J Street. That's the property that I got, for instance. So that's the commissions category. So this one is income. So it's a commissions category. And then I have the client added here. So I bought a property for that person, and I'm going to receive this much money once the closing happens. So let's imagine that the closing has happened, and that's the amount of money that I'm getting. All right, so I can just save that. There it is. Now I have an income of a commission. If I go back to my contact manager and I check out this contact, I can see that. Oh, what's the other ones? Edit. Accounting, I can see that there's an income versus the expense. Now the expenses can add up further because I still have a property to sell for this contact, and then there are also other fees that would apply as well. So if I go back to accounting, let's say on this same day, April 24th, 22nd, there's going to be other fees as well. So let's say I have to pay a $350 uh, transaction fee. That would be let's say, um, yeah, we have a transaction fee here. So whatever that is, um, I would allocate the contact as well. I should always know who I'm doing this transaction for. So that's also part of the costs of doing business. with this person. So that's also added in here. Oops, the date was wrong. I should have corrected the date. If you want to change anything, you can certainly do that and change the date in here as well. All right. Um, refresh that. So you can edit. So let's say this would be for 22 and then save it. Okay. And more. So if you've paid for, let's say, lawyers' fees, and you want to record that as well. If you're paying for anything else, if you're paying a referral fee, for example, let's say you've um, agreed to refund part of the commission to that client, whatever the agreements are. So you will add all of your um, expenses to the ledger as well. So all of that would be added, and you have a proper view of what's going on here. So this is as simple as it gets. All of your income, all of your expenses. Oh, by the way, there are some income and expenses that are not relevant to any client. So, for example, you might be paying, let's say, $800 um, for board membership fee, right? So, for example, so these are other expenses here. So we have professional fees, we have um, brokerage fees, licensing, for example, right? So that's licensing. It's my business expense, right? I paid for it now. And there's no client or property that will relate that. So you don't have to select a property or that. You can just add the expense in there and you have uh, all of those available. So it's very easy if you do this every week, or even better if you do it every day. At the end of the day, any expenses that you make would be added in here. Any income that you have or will have would be added in here. So you have everything recorded. Now, the cool thing is that once you have this information available in the ledger, you can see, as I showed you on Listing Manager and Contact Manager, the income and expense per client as well as per listing. While we have another tool right here under Analytical Tools, Financial Analysis, entire business in perspective. So right now, because it's fresh and I still don't have any information, this one is off, but it is going to start calculating and adding information for me. So there are several things here that are going to start building your financial visibility and giving you that perspective that you want to have as a business owner here. So the current year income is the income that you're getting this year. So it's already that one commission that we've closed right there. So you have that in here. Year to date expenses, that's your entire expenses year to date. So if you add everything in, your marketing, your CRMs, your platform subscriptions, your phone, your gas, your car, home office, whatever expenses that you incur, if you add them in, it is going to show you the year-to-date expenses in here as well. And then you get a net income before tax. So that is before any taxation. As I mentioned, we don't do taxing here, so that's up to you and your accountant. But this shows you your net income before tax, which is basically your current gross income minus total expenses. That's your net income. Now, the other important factor in your business to manage is this. It's marketing to income ratio. So that basically takes all the marketing expenses. So any marketing related expenses, which are these expenses right here that are being calculated. So you have business expenses, you have marketing expenses, you have commuting, you have gifts and entertainment, you have communication, and then other expenses here as well. Now, all the money that you're spending on marketing, so these are your Facebook ads, your CRM, um, your postcards, flyers, any other marketing capacity that you have in your business, they're all added under this larger umbrella, or larger capacity to give you the total of your marketing expenses. And that gives you the ability, or gives the system the ability to calculate this ratio for you, which is marketing to income ratio. It's an important thing to see. You always want to maintain a healthy marketing to income ratio in your business. If you're doing too little or too much, that can basically affect your business negatively. And you want to have a healthy ratio. Now, what that healthy ratio is, it really depends on your business. You can really talk about that with your consultants, with your um, advisors, etc. Uh, but it really depends. If your business is growing and you're investing into your business, that ratio could be higher. If your business is mature and you're pretty much cruising along, that ratio could be lower. But usually, a rule of thumb is that anything between 10 to 20% of your business should be, depending on the phase that you're in, obviously. So should be allocated to marketing, which uh, would help you have a steady growth in your business. So that's an important aspect to keep track of, and this will do it for you. Now, the benchmark for you from last year is also available. So all the income that you have received last year will be shown to you here. And you also have an indicator here which would show you the income that you would receive next year. So sometimes your closing dates, especially the for transactions that happened closer to the end of the year, will happen in the next fiscal year. So you won't have to include that as an income for this year. It's going to be an income for next year. If you're setting pre-construction projects, you may be coming in after several years. So you can already record that here. So you would know, for instance, if I have sold pre-construction projects that are going to be closing this year, but I've done the transaction, let's say 2 3 years ago, I would know today that I should be expecting some income, for those transactions that happened a few years ago this year, so I can already uh, plan ahead uh, according. So this also would show you if anything is coming in next year, and it would include those incomes if you had recorded them in the previous years, which would be happening in 2026. You already had track record of those and exactly when you should be expecting them. So all of that would be available to you. So down here, we would have several different indicators. So we would have a pie chart here, which is income by transaction type. So right now, no income has happened yet. As you remember, we have scheduled the income for April, and we haven't uh, come there yet. Therefore, the we don't have this year. We don't know if that income is going to happen until the closing is actually done and the deal is finalized. At that point, I would know that the income has been realized and it would be included in a pie chart here, which would let me know how much money I've made selling properties, how much money I've made purchasing properties, leasing out, leasing, assignments, pre-sales, etc. So all of that would be categorized here. So I know exactly how much money I'm making each category of transactions that I'll be making for my clients. So I know my income, I know my expenses by category, and then I have the monthly income and expense. Again, you should have all your income and expense added in here. So you have steady income, steady expenses going along. So you can have those added into the system. And then whenever you have incomes, it would also show you the income in a bar chart here as well. So you have your income, you have your expenses. So you have a chart showing you exactly what's going on. Next box here shows you income by client. So how much money you've made working with each one of the clients. So selling, buying properties, and sometimes selling property. Sorry, not being able to sell or buy properties, and just incurring expenses. So all of those would be recorded in here, and you would know how much money you've made working with each one of the clients. So obviously these don't make sense a lot because these are just tests and dummy and we're just throwing in numbers in there, but you would have a good list here knowing, these are the clients of yours that you're actually making money from. Now, the other section here is the referrals. So you would know how much money you've made by referrals. So if someone refers you, so basically Mary Doe has referred you to these two people, and this is basically the number of referrals you are getting, and it's showing you the referrals by client. So those are the information that are made available to you under the financial analysis module, which puts pretty much everything in your business in perspective for you to be able to really manage your business effectively. Let's go back to accounting. Finally, if you want to generate income statements, so let's say you want to do your taxes for last year, I can go ahead and select 2025 here. So you would select the year 2025, and then an income statement is going to be generated. So that's my income statement. These are all zeros because I didn't have anything added in there. But once you start adding things in there, you would know exactly what's going on. So your income statement is generated just like that, and you're able to simply click on print and have uh, this printed or saved in a PDF, and you can easily share that with your accountant. So this quickly shows you what your income and expenses look like on a sheet, so you have a statement available for your review at any point of time. So that can do that. So I can even go back to the previous years, and I know how much money I'm spending, how much money I'm making. So I have all the information that I need to have. So you can see that this is, quite an important, tool for you to be able to manage your business efficiently. Um, the financial aspect of any business is the most important part of the business to manage. And if you really don't have a good idea of what's going on in your business financially, you might be lost. I mean, if you want to save some money, you don't really know where you should go to save money. If you want to invest for growing your business, you won't really know where would be the most effective area to invest. So with this tool, you're going to be able to really manage your business a lot better and know where to invest, where to monitor expenses, and so on and so forth. You have proper ROI calculation done for you from various aspects of your business per client, per transaction, fiscal year, categories, etc. So all of that would be available to you. All right. So looking at the comments section, um, I don't see any questions. So I hope it has been um, clear. And in any case, if you have any questions later on, please reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to help. You can always send us an email or use the little co-pilot at the bottom of your screen whenever you log into Remarketer to communicate with us. All right, have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the day and the week, and I'll see you again next week with a different topic. Have a good one.